Hey y'all. So, I have been trying for hours to be able to do readings online, do Facebook Live from my laptop. Um, and it's just been like, I really feel like the message has been sit down somewhere. Hey, lads, and I hope you're feeling all right. So I figured I would just kind of check in. Hey, Phil, and see how everybody is doing. Because what I have been doing is panicking and trying to take control over everything, and it's not working. Okay. Hey, Nora, girl, you need to tell me if did you get your order? I hope you did. Um, and wait, is it good or bad? Oh, the fact that you've seen my hair. Okay, so for those of y'all that don't know, I just completed my EIO year, which means that I have my year in white after coming back from Nigeria, and I am super. Oh, good. Nora enjoyed her products. Cool from Purple Door Gree. Okay, so let me tell y'all. So here's another aside. Okay, I have so enjoyed all of the hey auntie, like literally my aunt Beth is on here. Okay, y'all. Anyway, this is so it's really awesome to be able to connect with people on some kind of level, right? This whole situation. Okay, Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau just decided she was gonna go for a walk. We're gonna put her right back where she was. Um, but this is just an experience of true powerlessness, right? Like the one thing that seems uniform is that we don't know anything, right? What we know is we need to stay our asses at home. Now, I've seen a lot of like shaming on social media and stuff for people who are still going to work. And I just want to remind folks that like I went from being a teacher and being raised by teachers. I didn't know that everybody did not have paid leave. And guess what Malika now is? Someone without paid leave. Which means, you eat what you kill. And so just to be gentle with each other's was coming up. And I just wanted to kind of check in and see how everybody was doing. And also because like all of my other stuff kind of failed, right? As far as like trying to be on other people's platforms. But I did all of this, okay? All of this. And I was like, you know what? We just gonna get on the good old iPhone and say hello to everybody. Let you know that I'm sending good vibes out to everyone because we all need them. I did find out that one of my father's friends is currently in the hospital on a respirator. And he, thanks, Christy. He is on a respirator and he has what you call it? Yep, no paid leave. He's on a respirator and he has tested positive for COVID-19. And his wife is scared. His kids are scared. It's just a scary time. It's so interesting because it really doesn't feel real, right? It doesn't feel like a real situation because we don't really see it, I guess. And I was reading some comments online where people were saying that they hope this time next year will say that we were all overreacting, right? And one of my good friends, Sam, was saying like he was like the funny thing is they'll say we were overreacting, but if we don't, hey Cassandra, if we don't overreact or whatever, like then whenever something doesn't happen, right? We feel like we overreacted. But then if we didn't do what we were asked to do, and then it becomes like even worse, right? Then clearly we needed to do what was advised before. So what I've been doing is madly trying to figure out like where money's going to come from, how I'm going to get that money, what I'm going to do with that money, etc., what needs to be done. And the message that I've been getting is sit down and like just kind of acknowledge the feelings, right? Which is that it's really uncomfortable. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Ladson said she'd rather overreact and keep more people safe. And that was like a really powerful message too, that I realized I'm so American, y'all. I am so American. Okay. It's horrifying. Going to Nigeria showed me exactly how American I am. But what I mean by that is I totally did not think about other people getting sick, right? Because I'm just like, oh, well, the risk is low and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other thing. And then to start reading things where they're like, right, there are other people in the world. And it's just amazing how that turns out to be kind of a shock. Okay. Like, oh, right, other people. So what I figured is I would hop online and pull some cards and see if we can just get a little bit of guidance on what to do, even though I think we've been told what to do, which is to be still. And I definitely am not confused about that. Like, I definitely was raised by a mom where it's like when something happens, absolutely. When something happens like this, you are being told to be still. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. My mom would be like, you broke your leg, you got sick, something that made your ass sit down. That is the divine telling you to be still. And I am very clear that that's what's happening. All that is to say, y'all, I'm not very good at being still. I'm not good at being still. I know Alice Lovelace calls it running to keep from falling apart. And that is basically how I'm used to dealing with this. Okay, so very cool. And hey, Roberta. It's really good to see everybody. If I don't say your name, it's just because I've noticed that when I watch other people's lives, it gets really weird after a while after they say names. But I'm super excited that everybody is here. Oh, and by the way, so this purple that you see behind me, that was hey y'all, this is from Nigeria, and I have not opened it in over a year since I went there, and I didn't even realize how big it was, because when I was first putting stuff up, I was just like, it looks real blank, and then I felt like my mom was kind of talking to me and kind of guiding me, and so then I started to put so we've got my Marie Laveau doll that I made right here, and she's hanging out. She's filled with red beans and rice and chicory coffee because I give these tours all the time, right? And I'm always like, and by the way, if you're a woman in business, appealing to Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau might be a good move for you. And then one day I was like, Malika, you're a woman in business. Where's your Marie Laveau? Okay. And so, Uncle Julio, y'all, my family is on, and that is so exciting. And I need to come to Florida and see y'all. But yeah, so I've got my Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau doll. And the funny thing is she rains Cajun rice. Okay. Like it comes out, like you can see it, everywhere. But it's a good reminder about, like, you know, women's power, etc. And you know what? I need to get into these cards because y'all said y'all want to see the cards. So the first thing that just came up that I'm looking at is forgiveness. Now, when this card comes up, so it's a fire card, passion. Okay, your driving force, that which keeps you moving. Now, the forgiveness card always has to do, first and foremost, forgiveness of self. Okay, secondarily, other people. What that means is a lot of times we're very good at having compassion for other people and not so much with ourselves. And especially in times like this, where we're thinking about those shifts that we gave up now that we ain't got no work. But the thing is, at the time we gave those shifts up, we needed a rest. Okay, we can't do all the things at one time. It's either feast or famine. And when we talk about forgiveness, it has everything to do with keeping the whole situation, in mind. Right? Like, it's easy to look back now at mistakes we've made in the past or things that we see as mistakes. Things we see as mistakes. And just totally beat ourselves up about it, right? But the thing is, obviously, you wouldn't make the same decision today that you made in the past because you're not where you were today as you were in the past. And if you hadn't made the decisions you made in the past, you wouldn't be where you are today, etc. So that's what the forgiveness card, y'all, first and foremost has to do with. First of all, forgiveness of self, secondarily other people. Now, the forgiveness of other people, I think we all have watched enough Oprah at this point where we understand that forgiveness does not mean that it's all swept under the rug, forgiven and forgotten. Forgiveness, I think true forgiveness, the older I get and the more therapy I have, the more forgiveness to me looks more like I now have more information about you, and I understand that you can only show up as who you are. And now that information lets me know that you may not need to hold the same space with me as you once did. So I forgive you. Hey, ma'am, I forgive you, right? But that doesn't mean, and try not to let people manipulate you into saying, you say you forgive me, but I'm not close to you anymore. I can forgive you and be very well aware that you no longer need to be close to me. Now, on the other hand, sometimes people forgiving you means they also need to not be close to you anymore. And it's a lot harder. It's hard to enforce boundaries, and it is hard to have boundaries enforced, but it is what makes relationships safe. So what I try to remember is that when people enforce boundaries with me and my feelings get hurt, I will for sure. My feelings get hurt. I get salty, and sometimes I'll be like, well, forget you then. But you know what always happens after I sit still? And by the way, if that's my reaction, it's because I know you've hit a nerve, and you're probably right. Okay. After I sit down for a second, after a little while, I'll get over it, and I'll be able to actually hear what it is you had to say. So when it comes time to set boundaries for other people, it is also important to remember that, they'll get over it. They will absolutely get over it. So forgiveness, first, foremost of self, secondarily other people. Okay, so let's pull another card. And real quick, I want to say everything. I want to say hi to Jay. I want to say hey to Toya, and to Keisha. And I think my sister Jordan is on here. And I may have missed some folks. And if I didn't greet you, go ahead and say something else. And then by the time I'm doing another card, I will say hello. But this is super awesome because, y'all, I was trying to get back online. I used to do readings online for money, and it's really stressful. And what I'm realizing, I love my mom because I really feel like what's happening. Y'all, let me tell you how I bought fresh flowers for our moms. Both mine and my wife's moms have passed on. They've transitioned on, which means they are everywhere now. Okay. If you thought you couldn't get away from mama before, wait till they decide to give up that physical form, and they are all over the place. Hey, David. So, y'all, I've called myself, short as I am, putting the vase of fresh flowers up on my mom's altar, and I broke one of the statuettes. Like, a couple of things fell down, including one of her pictures. And my wife was like, that's your mom telling you chill with the, all the stuff you trying to do online and trying to find jobs and stuff to do from home. She's telling you to sit down. And I immediately did apologize. I was like, I apologize for my manic energy. Because what that is that's not moving in faith. You know what I'm saying? And what other option do I have? So as far as doing this, it's so funny because I was trying to get my computer to work, like I said, to do the live, and it wasn't working. And what I'm realizing sitting here with y'all now is that this is what I want to do. I don't really want to be sitting there talking to people I don't know, waiting to see if somebody wants a reading. And then by the time they come in, I can't be 100 honest with them because most of the time people are asking me about their ex and what are they doing. And the thing is, the way that my cards come up, y'all, they don't never tell you what nobody else is doing. They telling you 100 what you need to do. Okay. Which is stay on your side of the street, because if we all stay on our side of the street, when I tell you, baby, you will be so busy. We ain't got time. We do not have time to be worried about what other people are doing. It even gets to the point, y'all, where if I get real upset with somebody, I'll be like, you know what? That's fine. I know what to do. I'm going to look at my side first. Okay. I'm going to look at my side first so I can say I looked at my side, and then I'm going to be all over your side. And every time I look at my side, it is so humbling, and I am so embarrassed and ashamed that I'm just like, you know what? Never mind. You know what? Forget your side, because my side is a pure tea mess. And when I tell y'all that I feel like my relationship with the divine is largely just being told to sit down, go sit down. Because you messing up stuff. That's how I ended up breaking a sculpture off of my mother's altar. And I know that I'm going to have to pour her a glass of Cavassier, y'all, because I think that means I was working her nerves. Because if she was still alive, she would be like, Malika, take a walk. That's what she used to say, take a walk. So let's see what the next card is. Integrity. All right, y'all. So integrity is another fire card. We got a lot of passion going on. And I think that makes sense because passions are running high. Passion and fear. Like, I think fear is definitely a form of passion. The important thing, I think, is for us to learn how to direct that energy so that it's kind of a pilot light that we know how to turn up and down as needed, and not a wildfire that burns through our lives. Okay. So I think that that is the message with this another fire card coming up now. As far as the integrity card, when this card comes up, it is a reminder that in life we do have to compromise. Life is about compromise, and relationships are about compromise. But there are fundamental aspects of who we are at our core, who the divine has called us to be, who our ancestors have called us to be, and we cannot compromise those. There are some things we try to compromise. You can compromise about like maybe what we having for dinner. We can even compromise about like what side of town we gonna live on, maybe. But once we get into what we hold the most dear, trying to change your core belief system, that was placed in you. No, I shouldn't say your belief system, because belief systems, people get a little crazy about those. We get real attached to those. But I just want to say I don't even like the word morals, but the ideas that you were born with, the knowing, and not even ideas, the knowing that you were born with and what's for you and what's not for you, those are things that no matter how hard we try, we cannot compromise on them. We absolutely cannot compromise. And so the integrity card speaks to being in alignment with that. I know that one of the most popular definitions of integrity, hey LJ, I know that one of the most popular definitions of integrity is being able, it's like how you act when no one's watching, right? But I also think that as far as integrity is concerned, and this card in general, it also means like, what is your heart's work? What is your soul's work? And for those of us who are, who also have a creative side, a lot of us have multiple callings. Okay. So it's not really about the one thing you're supposed to do. Now, what I will say is, as somebody with multiple callings, I have trouble sometimes picking one thing to do, and I can only do one thing at a time. So I think that that's a little bit also having to do with integrity. I think that's kind of responsibly wielding your creative energy. Y'all keep a dream journal for daydreams and sleep dreams. Okay. The sleep dream journals, by the way, what you do is, be it a nap, be it waking up from a deep sleep, you want to go ahead, Jules, you want to go ahead and you want to either write down, and I don't like writing when I first woke up, y'all. So a lot of times I'll just make a voice memo. You want to make a note of whatever it is you remember from your dreams. And if you're not someone who remembers your dreams, the feeling you have, your goal is to get that down before it dissipates. Okay. What you're supposed to do at the end of the day is go back, Alafia. You're supposed to go back and look at the dream, the feelings that you had, and look through your day. Go back through your day and see where those feelings and those dreams connected with what actually happened. That is how you make a tie between the subconscious and the conscious. That's how you you kind of upgrade your psychic ability, if you will. It makes your intuition something that you can use as practical application, if that makes sense. Okay. A lot of times we get really far away from our intuition. And then there are times when we got to be real. You got to be real clear on where you are emotionally. We can't always trust the feelings. You got to be able to tap into knowing when it's your fears talking, when it's what you want talking, and learn how to be still. So like for a little while in the beginning, some of your actions may look a little crazy because you're still trying to figure out how to discern which voice is the one you're supposed to listen to. But it just takes practice. And one of the things that I've learned the older that I get is that you can always make another choice. Okay. So if you make a decision and you get more information and you realize that maybe that wasn't the decision to be made, don't get in the trap where you feel like if you change your mind, you're being wishy-washy. Sometimes you just get more information than you had when you initially made a decision. So make a new decision. That to me is integrity and being in divine alignment. I think also integrity means if your job, your livelihood is not in alignment with what your heart work is, your passion work, do your best to make sure that you are pouring at least as much energy into your passion work as you are the job that pays your bills. Okay. Because yes, of course, we have bills to pay. But if you're doing work that is not in service of your spirit, I understand that we all need to keep doing that work until we can do the work. Okay, that's in alignment with our spirit, but you need to be expelling as much energy in your off time on that heart work, on that soul work. And that's like the message I'm getting just sitting here talking to y'all. And I need to say hello to Keisha and hey Tara. And as far as that energy goes, that is how we attract into our lives what we really need to do. You know what I'm saying? Not YOLO Achille. Hey, boo. So we're just talking about integrity and being in divine alignment with your calling and that which kind of waters your spirit. Okay. And I'm feeling really good about this because, as I said, I just spent hours, y'all, trying to do readings online for money and couldn't get my computer to work and all of that. And I think it's because this is what I want to be doing. And if anybody would like a reading, this is an excellent time to book, y'all, because you know what's going on all over the world. And because, by the way, and I'll put this up on my website and on my Facebook page, because this is such a hard time, I am definitely willing to do sliding scale. I can't do it for readings past 15 minutes, okay, just because it takes a lot of energy. But so like the hour readings and stuff, that's going to have to stay set as like what it is now. And I do have those prices on my website, but I know that we are all in a place where we could use some guidance. And I know that a lot of us are in a place where we don't know where them next dollars is coming from. So I will do a sliding scale, 15-minute readings. You can inbox me and we can work that out because I'm blessed enough that today, for today, I have everything that I need. And it looks like that'll be true for at least the next week. And you know what? That is bigger than what I could have expected earlier today, because the way things are going, they're changing like minute to minute. So look what the next card is, y'all. It's compassion. And that's a C's card. C's is relationships. In a standard tarot deck, it would be cups. Okay. And I didn't tell you all that. So the first two cards were fire. Standard deck, those would be wands. Okay. So C's card, cups, it has to do with as far as, thank you, Nora. As far as the compassion card, this ties to that first card I pulled, which was forgiveness. And I was saying forgiveness has everything to do with compassion. So here we've got the C's card. Cups, by the way, have to do with relationships, be they familial, work, romantic, or otherwise. What we've got is the three dragons circling the pearl of wisdom. And that is because compassion really is the root of wisdom. Okay. Compassion is, once again, looking at that whole picture, not only for other people, but for yourself. When I think about like the people that I meet all through the day and I get all upset about how they're acting and how they're bumping into me, or whatever's going on, I have to think about the days where I'm evil and I'm out in the world. And a lot of times those days when I was evil, y'all, I had lost my mama. My whole world had fallen apart. Do I care about bumping into you? No. Matter of fact, I hope you say something because I am just like Tinder, right? Like I'm waiting for the opportunity to blow because what is happening inside me hurts so much that I'm just like, just a powder keg. Okay. And so my goal is to try to remember that these people, whenever people seem nasty out in the world, I do not know what they are carrying. And yes, it is my responsibility when I'm having a rough time to do the healing work because I know better. Not all of us know better. I know better. I know what I need to be doing and I'm going to fall short. Right? Because I'm human and that's what happens. But I think that one of the things that I can remember walking around the world to move in compassion is to understand that I do not know anybody else's road. I don't know what they're going through. And I want to say really quickly, hello to Karen and Lindsay. Hey, Bianca and Ebony. Good to see y'all. But just to remember, and especially right now, y'all, this is a huge time for compassion. This is a really scary time. I was sharing earlier that I found out that one of my father's friends is actually in the hospital and he tested positive for COVID-19 and he is on a respirator. And I'm going to be real honest with y'all, that's a little too close to my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the same age. They both from New York. They went to school together. That makes it more real. And I know that it should be real already because we are all connected, we are all human, but the reality is that we exist in bubbles, right? Like I'm not really thinking like, I'm like, yes, peace and love to the whole world, and I hope everybody heals and is safe. But am I connecting truly with that? Not until it hits home. Not until it hits home. And so I feel like the compassion and the way to exercise compassion as I'm moving through the world is to just try to keep in mind how little I know. Because the reality, y'all, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. I can look at somebody and think that I know, right? Like, it's like, you don't know pain. You don't know what that person knows. And then when you compound mental illness, which is so real on top of that, like, so as someone who, I don't really like, maybe battles depression is the word. I don't like suffers from, deals with depression. It's like being locked in a room with the most evil person. Like when my levels are not together and I am not on the right meds, my head is so dangerous. It is so dangerous. It doesn't matter what's happening in the tangible world because my brain is saying the most hateful things. And I just need to keep that in mind because so many people are walking around wounded without the medicine that they need. And so that to me is probably the core of the compassion that I know I need to exercise. And I hope that we all do. And it's just a reminder, right? Because like, I want to be sitting on a lotus somewhere, speaking only like so, and just appearing like I'm just super wise, right? But the reality is I am a hot mess walking around the world with other hot messes. And the best that we can do, is try to just love on each other. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And especially, I would almost say, especially with folks that, neurologically divergent. I appreciate that. And hey, Dr. Foster and Nene, and you're right, Lindsay, it really is hard. It really is hard to tell how serious things are. And also just, we don't know what people are walking around with is like the bottom point. Absolutely. Synchronicity. You know, that's what New Orleans is about. But yeah, this is all about compassion for each other. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk in circles. So let's pull another card and see what comes up. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so this is a joy card. This is like the light, happy sex card. I think people said they was watching this with their kids. I'm sorry. I will just say this is a time for playful frolic while we are all stuck inside. And that can be with a partner. That can be without a partner. That can be whatever it is you need it to be. But this is a time, like seriously, creation begets creation, right? And attraction creates attraction. So whatever it is that we are trying to attract, a lot of times we feel that, oh, sorry about that, Nora. I'm going to try to keep it as clean as possible. But attraction is, all it does is it magnetizes everything, right? So whatever it is that we are trying to attract, make time for that sensuality. Okay, that is really, oh, Lord, and my aunt. Sorry, Aunt Beth, I forgot you were here. I'm happy you're here, but yeah, I know you're getting to know me way more than you ever wanted to. But yes, so just a reminder, this is a time for playfulness. And I think that's an important thing to remember because I feel like my mother used to tease me. She used to say, I don't know where you got all this. She called herself a recovering Catholic, but she said that I used to deal with, situations as though I were Catholic, like this guilt. Okay, but I've also been told that because I'm half Jewish ethnically, it's kind of the same thing. But I used to feel like if I didn't worry about things, then the divine would feel like I was taking like God for granted. And for some reason, like if I just went along like everything was going to be fine, then God would be like, oh, well, she really doesn't care. So, I'm just going to let it fall apart. Then somebody explained to me that's called faith. Okay. Yes, baby boom 2.0. You already know, Lindsay. So, but yeah, that's called faith and moving in faith. There's good precedents that we'll continue to live through everything that's happening to us because we've already lived through everything that's ever happened to us. Now, that doesn't mean that some of us won't transition because that's how it works. I'm so glad. That is awesome. But Christy, that's right, because you are Catholic. Yeah, God got us. And what that is not taking God for granted. That is or the divine or the universe. I really feel like the divine is not real hung up on what we call it. Okay. But the fact is that something has carried us this far, right? Our job is to do right by each other, to the best of our ability, and do right by ourselves. And we are going to fall short constantly, right? But we're also, if we pay attention, we have the opportunity to do better constantly. So that's what I'm getting. And also to make time for that light playfulness. Okay. And that's where right. That's where it went. Y'all went all around the bend, but that's where this comes in, because a lot of time, because this is a scary time, a lot of times we can feel like, if we're not trying actively spinning wheels, trying to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to make this work. My cousin Taylor's on here. Hey, Taylor, how we're going to make things work. Then we feel like it's not going to work out. Right. Our job is to be in the moment and to realize in this moment, we all have whatever it is that we need in this moment. Which means make time for the playfulness, because listen, once we're on the other side of this thing and we are all, running all around trying to get our lives together, and now we got too much work, ain't gonna be no time for play. So take this time to do some of that. You know what I'm saying? If you need to do some planning, that's cool. Do some of that, but make time for play. Now, this is our first major arcana card that I am pulling up. And this is Yemaya, the Oracle. Absolutely. Yep, the Oracle. And this speaks to dream work. So I was talking about keeping a dream journal earlier. For those of you just coming in, basically do your best to keep track of your dreams. And if you're not someone who remembers your dreams, keep track of the feeling you had when you woke up before it dissipates, and then try to bridge that with how your day went, so that you can kind of make psychic ability. You can make your subconscious something that you have practical application, that you have the luxury, not the luxury, but the gift of using as practical application. Yemaya is also maternal. She's the maternal deity. She is the mother of fishes. And just so we're clear, so in Ifa, and in Orisha, she is the mother of fishes. In Lukumi, she is the mother of the ocean. I think also, then her other side can also be Olokun. So just so we're clear, I'm just telling y'all my understanding. She's the mother of fishes. And one thing that I've been told about her, and I can totally understand why she's showing up now, is because one of the warnings with Yemaya, because she is the mother of fishes and she dwells in the ocean, and because she is the mother deity, she worries about us a lot, and she feels our pain. What that means is if we worry too much and we cry too much to her, she will take us down into her bosom so we no longer feel pain. Her bosom being the ocean. Y'all, we can't breathe underwater, okay? You get where I'm going? So it means get in touch with the feelings. Don't drown in them, okay? Acknowledge them, because I think one of the things that we tend to do with fear, we talk about this a lot, or I talk about this a lot in my readings, is that we do one of two things with fear. One, either we obsess about it and it gets bigger, or we try to ignore it and it gets bigger. Okay. The way fear has been described to me is, it's almost like when people talk about Buddhist meditation, right? How they say you acknowledge the thoughts as clouds and watch them float away. Same thing with fear. You do need to at least acknowledge fear. Let it know that you see it, like, I hear you. Okay. Thank you for your input. And then let it roll on. And it's going to keep resurfacing, and you're going to have to keep turning it over. Acknowledge it, let it roll on. Like I say, have a cup of tea with it. Don't have a whole meal. All right. So I think that that's why Yemaya is showing up. And just so those of you who are unaware of what Major Arcana is, Major Arcana are cards that our actions don't change one way or another. Okay, it's just God telling you what God's about to do. It means hold on to something. And it also means, to the best of your ability, don't try to go against what's happening, because you won't win and you'll just get banged up. Okay, it is in your best interest, whatever is happening. And just do your best to kind of ride that wave. And especially right now with things, with things changing as quickly as they are. I think I'm going to do a couple more cards. And yeah, I'm glad this is speaking to folks. We got a good luck card, y'all. We needed one. Okay. Not that any of these were bad luck cards, but it's just nice sometimes to get a card that is just straight up, like there's no other way to interpret it other than good. Ace of Wind. So in a standard tarot deck, this would be Swords, Realization. Now, Ace is always a good luck card because it's the beginning of the suit. It means going up. Okay. Means you can take things as far as you want them to go. Now, when Ace Realization shows up, it's twofold. So one, getting real clear, realizing what it is you want your life to feel like. And sometimes that can start with what you want your life to look like. I know some people think they're super corny, but I just have to tell y'all that if I were to pull out my vision boards right now from the last 10 years, y'all, practically everything has manifested. Not necessarily how I thought it was going to look, but because I got clear on what I wanted, it means that I was able to recognize it when it appeared by how it felt. So not necessarily what it looked like, but how it felt. So that's why we get attached to the pictures, right? That's why they say make the collage, because the pictures, the reason we want the house, the lover, whatever it is we think that we need or want is because we believe it's going to make us feel a certain way, right? So start with the picture so that you can get in connection with the feeling. And that way, once you get connected with the feeling and you're able to recognize it, that means that when the universe brings you something that's for you, but it doesn't quite look like what you thought it was going to look like, you'll still recognize it as for you because it feels right, if that makes sense. Okay, because a lot of times we just get so caught up in what we think things are supposed to look like, we totally miss all the blessings that are all around us constantly. So the Ace Realization, first is to get clear and to realize what it is we want our lives to feel like. Second is realizing, which means actually making it real. Manifesting or femifesting. I love that term. Somebody gave that to me years ago. Femifesting, what it is that we want to make real. And because it is an ace card, it's a good luck card. It means that this is a time, hell, we're all forced to be still, right? What else are we doing? This is a time to dream. This is a time to visualize. This is a time to get real clear about what we want out of our lives because everything has ground to a halt. And like I said, the way I was raised, y'all, that means that this is the divine trying to get our attention. Okay, so let's pull another card. Mother Perception. Okay, y'all. So this is another C's card. Again, standard tarot deck would be Cups, relationships. Now, this has to do with scrying. Scrying is... you can scry with water. You can scry with fire. What scrying is basically meditating into an element. Okay, water gazing, fire gazing. Now, one of the things that I love about scrying is that there's a logical, tangible reason on as to why it works. And then, of course, there's the woo, the esoteric reason that it works. So I'm going to start with the logical, tangible reason, because for me, that's always very important. As much as I love the woo, I guess it's the Virgo in me. Like my feet stay pretty much on the ground still. And I still want to know, like, is this real? Like, does it really work? And so the reason that scrying works to me is when you're looking into a body of water, be it, and I tell people either get like a clear bowl and put dark liquid in it or get a dark bowl and put water in it and put a candle next to it and kind of meditate into the bowl. Now, the reason this works, y'all, is because it's giving your waking mind something to focus on so that your subconscious can wander, but you're still lucid enough to kind of pay attention to what's going on. Okay, so that's why it works on a tangible level. The reason it works on the esoteric level is because, of course, it's kind of like dreaming while awake, wakeful dreaming, if you will. So this is saying Mother Perception. It is saying that this is a time to be still and to definitely meditate, either around water if you have water near you, or as I said, create a body of water, be it in a bowl, in a bath, whatever works. And just, again, get real still and focus on the current. And you can take that as the current as in today, as in this moment, the current as in the current of the water, how it's flowing. If it's not flowing, the stillness, because that is definitely in alignment with what's going on right now. So this card coming up, Mother Perception, means that this is how your subconscious is going to be able to speak to you more clearly, is through that stillness and through that water gazing. So let's do a shuffle and see what comes up next. And thank y'all so much for hanging out with me, because this is just like, oh, okay. So this just flipped out, which means this is the card, y'all. This is the world, Gaia. This is actually one of my favorite cards. As you can see, she goes so beautifully with everything around me. Gaia, when this card comes up, it is a reminder that we all have a calling. And as I said earlier, some of us have several callings. Hey, Jamie. Some of us have several callings. When the world comes up, when Gaia comes up, it is saying that that is where your wealth is going to come from. That is where true prosperity is going to come from. And when we talk about true wealth and prosperity, we don't mean just money. We do mean money. Let's be clear. Okay. Because true wealth and prosperity does mean that you have everything that you need. And prosperity and then some, which means you can be of service to others as well. And we can always be of service to others, by the way. It's just that funds, of course, make us able to be of service to others, in a more of a myriad of ways, I guess I could say. But sometimes, not having funds means that we can get a little bit more creative about how we're there for people. Now, as far as the world, when Gaia comes up, it does mean that, so we all have a calling, as I was saying, and it is your job to carry out that calling or those callings. Now, a lot of times we will talk ourselves out of that because we'll say there's enough people that do fill in the blank. There are enough artists, there are enough singers, there are enough tarot readers. No one needs another tarot reader. Somebody needs you to do things the way that you do it. Okay, nobody else can do what you do the way that you do it. And if it is one person in this world who needs you to do it, then it's one person in this world. But that's why you were given this gift, and that's what you need to be doing. And so that's why Gaia is showing up. And I think, once again, this time of being still is a great time to get in touch with that energy and what it is that calling is. There's another card that came up. So as far as this card is the wind card. So it has to do with cerebral mindset. So the ace realization card was also cerebral mindset. I did say it was swords, but I didn't say that it has to do with your mind. The illusion card is a reminder that things are not as bad as they seem. And so and that's kind of tricky, right? Because on the one hand, it doesn't mean lie to yourself. This is a rough time, okay? This is a time to be sending positive energy to folks and to be checking in on folks and seeing if there's any way you can help in a way that's not going to endanger them or you. But at the same time, the level that a lot of us are freaking out, self included, way overblown. Because for today, I have a roof over my head, and I've got friends and family with me, right? So as far as via the internet, but these are people I haven't connected with in a real long time. So as far as what we are looking at, wind, the illusion card, you'll note that this baby is armed to the teeth for a tsunami, right? And she's really freaking out. But if you'll notice, what's actually scaring her is her shadow, right? And her shadow is formidable and scary because of all the armor she has on. Really what it is a tiny passing rain cloud. And it's the sun that is out and trying to reach her that is making this shadow look so formidable. Okay. And so that is the reminder of this card, is to remember that. And I've also noticed that when I get fearful, y'all, rarely is it actually what I usually pick something to be worried about that I feel like I can handle more than what's underneath it. Like I've heard it said before, if you weren't thinking about this, what would you be thinking about? Yeah, I hate that question. And that's basically what the illusion card is about. So if you can get down to the nitty gritty and what's really on your mind, then that is like the way to be able to move forward. And there's a card that is backwards. Oh, okay. So y'all, forgiveness card popping up again. Now, just real quick, we ain't going to go over this all over again. But once again, as I said, forgiveness first and foremost of self. But the fact that it's coming up again out of a deck of 78 cards, y'all, means that somebody in here is first and foremost probably beating up on themselves. And then secondarily, somebody else. And that is energy burnt up, y'all. If somebody wronged you, or if you feel like some injustice has been done, acknowledge that you now have more information about that person or that situation. and say thank you for the information that and forgive them as in it's done, right? And acknowledge that they no longer need to be that close to you. That's it. The situation's done. You got to let it go. We keep things going for ourselves. And interestingly, just as I said that, Mother Mary shows up and major arcana. Okay, so once again, our actions don't sway what's happening in any way. This is just the divine telling us what the divine is doing. When Mother Mary shows up, she's here to, her burning heart is supposed to see you through the dark times. And in my experience, whenever Mother Mary comes up, it usually means that we are toward the end of that dark time. Now, I know that's kind of hard to say because it feels otherwise, because it seems like we're just at the beginning. But I think that in the grand scheme of things, this is like that breakdown before the breakthrough, as people put it. Also, so Mother Mary's in this deck, as is Mary Magdalene. And whenever the Marys show up, I think that there's probably a woman in a situation somewhere who is not being honored for her true role in something. And so let me just explain where I get that from. So in the Gospels of the Marys, right, between Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary, we're dealing with two women. First of all, regardless of what your religion is, okay, if you see it as fiction, if you see it as fact, our elder brother, the Black Messiah, appeared first to the women. Okay. And then one of them goes down in history as a prostitute, even though the Bible doesn't say she was one. Okay. So where did that come from? Let's get that together. And the other one, his actual mother is told that she need to stay outside. He's in his father's house. Tell her I'm in my father's house. Okay. Now, to me, those are two women who are not honored for their true role in something. But you know who did end up honoring them for their true role? The man himself. Okay, because where would the Messiah have been without them? The apostles, what was they? The disciples was hiding in an attic somewhere. Okay, and the women had to go find them and be like, hey, just thought y'all might like to know he is risen. You know, and so it's just a reminder that when the Marys come through, that there is some woman or there are women somewhere not being honored for their true role in something, which means that your job, regardless of what your gender expression is, so I'm not speaking just to women, your job is to hold on to who you know yourself to be. And when that gets called into question, make sure that you are surrounded by the people who can bolster you in reminding you of who you know yourself to be. Okay, so I think that is why Mary's showing up. Also, because that burning heart, y'all. Also, one of the most important things that I always get from Mary, and especially when Mother Mary shows up, the card says sacrifice. Okay, and of course, Mother Mary made the ultimate sacrifice, right, of her son, and she knew she was going to have to. And this is, by the way, y'all, if you're just coming in, I'm talking about this just from a literary standpoint, regardless of what your belief system is. I am using the parable, the story, to kind of get at this point because Mother Mary shows up in this tarot reading. Now, what this card also means, y'all, is that the sacrifices have been made. The generations before us did not live the way they lived so that we would repeat what they have lived through, if that makes sense. Okay. A lot of times, the new generation, we will feel guilty because we are living in a way that our mothers or our fathers couldn't have dreamed of. And when we get sick and we actually take time off, we feel guilty because we know that we had parents who didn't have that luxury. And those are just like minor examples. When the sacrifice card comes up, when it's Mother Mary, that is the reminder that those sacrifices were already made for us. Yes, we need to continue to make sacrifices, but boo, not the same ones. Not the same ones. They made those sacrifices so that we could move forward. Okay. And so that's the reminder. That's the reminder that we are not here to be living sacrifices. Okay. That has already been done. That debt has already been paid. Now, that does not mean that we don't have work to do. Okay. But it does mean that we have an obligation to walk in the blessings that are our birthright, and that came from the sacrifices that were already made. Okay. So I'm gonna pull one more card and then I'm gonna say goodnight to y'all. But I might be back on tomorrow because it's just really like, I'm having a great time. And so that's really, I needed that. I couldn't figure out what to do today to kind of like fix my, spirit, because y'all, I wouldn't be still and I was breaking stuff off the altar because I was moving too fast and my mama told me to sit down somewhere. So let's see what the last card is. And then, of course, once again, if you are interested in a reading with me, feel free to inbox me. And as I said, up to 15 minutes, I will do as a sliding scale just for this time, because I know that we are all in need of guidance right now. But beyond 15-minute readings, the prices are as stands. And I will, if you inbox me, I'll give you that information. But you can also head over to legacyhealing.org, and it'll tell you the prices as well. But just remember for the 15-minute reading that's sliding scale, because I want to make sure that everybody's able to get something that they need. Okay. Thank you, Lakara. Likewise. Okay, y'all. So I was hoping it was going to be like a real happy, listen, y'all, the card is depletion. Okay. Lord. Beached whales. Okay. There's no real way for me to put a spin on this. What this means, y'all. So it's a C's card. So relationships. In Reiki, we call depletion pouring without drinking. Okay. So what that means is that you are, giving and giving and giving and giving. You're even tapping your reserves that are supposed to be left over for you. And it is leaving you with less than nothing. Now, here is the tricky message with this one. And I loathe it because I am someone who gives and gives and gives and gives. Y'all, that doesn't make me an awesome person. It doesn't make me this like amazing. That's a control thing. When you give past the point of what's comfortable for you, when you give past the point of what you actually have to give, that's not about being of service. That's not about being of service at all. That is actually about control. And your heart might be in the right place. Okay, your heart might be in the right place. I'm not saying you're a horrible person, but what I am saying is it also takes vulnerability to receive. And so a lot of us will give and give and give because we are very uncomfortable receiving, because in order to receive, we have to be open. I'd rather give. Okay. I feel like I have a little bit more control over that when I'm the one giving. But if I receive something from you, I might feel like I now owe you something. And that's completely generated by me, because regardless of what you think I may owe you, that's not how giving things works. Right. But it's just a reminder that of partnership. And that comes with everybody. I get it, boo. That comes with for everybody. All relationships should be reciprocal. Now, of course, reciprocity looks different ways. That doesn't mean if I have more money than you and we go out and hang out and I pay for stuff that you need to be paying the same amount if that's not like what we agreed on. What it does mean is whatever it is you bring to the relationship, we need to both be as present with whatever it is that we have, right? I know it is, Chris. I know it is. And yeah, the truth is serious, Lindsay. It is. You know, you told me a lot of it. But yeah, it's just definitely time to remember that we have to receive. We have to receive and do our best to make ourselves vulnerable enough to do so. And so with that, I hope I got to say hello to everyone. Oh, hey, sir. I did not say hello to Daddy Cole. Hey, Daddy Cole. So I just wanted to speak, and y'all, thank you so very much for listening to me blah blah on, because I guess I really needed this. And so my Marie Laveau doll and I are going to say good night. And again, feel free to inbox. And I am going to post some stuff to my page, and I'm trying to start using IG like the kids do. With more information about how you can reach me and everything. But thank y'all so much, and love, and be safe. And y'all, we need to just continue to stay your ass inside and sit down somewhere. Okay? Thank y'all. Hi, Eric. Bye, Eric. Thank you. I love all y'all.